Welcome back to week 4 of the Thriving in the New Normal series. This week, we are going to be talking about transparency. Transparency is intentionally baring your soul to the world by showing your true self to others. People and businesses hide their essence in fear of rejection, lack of self-confidence, being brokenhearted, or a lack of fulfillment. And because of this topic, we wanted to change up a little bit the way that we've been doing our presentations. And I wanted to start off with just talking with our panelists a little bit and going around and asking a very simple question that many of us ask every single day without expecting to fully get an answer. But I think it's important for us to think about this question for ourselves and for the many people that we talk to every single day. So the simple question that we ask very often and that we typically do not expect to get an answer for is, how are you? And I'm going to start off with Jennifer Bagley, and I'm going to ask the question, Jennifer, how are you doing?
Ben, thank you for asking. My natural response, I just want to say okay, and we're swamped and everything's great, and that's my canned response. And I know it. I'm aware of it. Right now, our team is maxing out their hours, and now they have all of their normal business, and they have now all the free services that we're offering because we've kind of ramped up to try and help dealers during this time. In addition, everyone on our team, myself included, we're trying to find a new period of time to be able to help people in the community, and having a kind of a nervous and unsettling feeling on a daily basis of how is each one of how do I touch base with every single one of our customers to make sure their mind is right, that they're doing well, that they're focused on taking advantage of the time. That unsettling feeling doesn't go away day to day. And I think that on a daily basis that I squish most of that and just go to town, go to work, and create another task list and come up with something new and a new solution. And I probably am draining my team in some instances. So I'm trying to be cognitive and careful that we're not overly pushing anyone, but everyone is, it's different. And every day is a little bit of a new challenge, and answering that question honestly is hard. And I appreciate you putting me on the spot in front of all these people. Thanks. And no tears.
Well, thank you very much, Jennifer. And I know it's not easy to respond to that question of how are you? Brigham, I want to pose the same question back to you. How are you doing during this time?
Well, the right answer is great. I'm great. And the real answer is, I don't know, surreal. It's a crazy experience. 4 weeks ago, I had 50 clients call in and tell us that they can't pay for training right now. And I made a choice. And for a minute, I was panicking, right? Just like everybody else. It was $30,000 in income and residual income gone just in a moment. And I decided in that moment that they needed our help now more than ever. And I wasn't going to abandon them in their time of need. And so I told my team that we were going to continue to coach them for free. And we can either float it or we can just forgive it and not worry about it. And then my team and I got together and we started writing scripts, tons of scripts, happy call scripts, and how to handle the customer when they're concerned about the technician coming to their home scripts, and how to deal with a customer when they're calling in and canceling because they're concerned about the COVID virus script. And, as we got this feedback coming in, we started writing and creating, and our team's never been closer. We've never been more tightly knit, ever. And I remember that, especially that first week, 4 weeks ago, when all this was coming down. It was the week where Utah had earthquakes and everything. I was in this office from dawn until dusk. In fact, my wife would come in at 7 at night when the sun was going down, and she would ask, "So are you ever coming out of here?" And I was just either talking to a member of my team or writing content for a dealer, just committed to doing whatever it takes to help everybody get through this. So that's where I'm at. Still doing that. Still doing whatever it takes.
Thank you. I really appreciate your honesty, your transparency with that. And I know there's a lot of other contractors that are kind of in the same boat and struggling with some of the same things. So I really appreciate that. David, how are you doing?
So I got an old friend who I learned this from a long time ago, and he told me the answer is always, "I'm unbelievable." Right? And you don't really know if that's unbelievably good or unbelievably bad, but I'm unbelievable. And right now, for me personally, I'm probably more motivated than I have been in a long time for lots of good reasons, but I'm also fearful. Not for me personally, but for a lot of people like many of you on this call that are struggling with, okay, what does this look like going forward? And how's this going to impact my business long term? I've got a son and two daughters, and our son and two daughters. So, well, technically a son and one daughter and a daughter-in-law. I consider her my daughter, my wife and I do. And all three of the women in my close family find themselves on the bench right now. One's in the dental business, one's in the restaurant business, and one's in the school business. So all three of our women right now are on the bench. They're unemployed. So, I'm a little concerned about the financial impact that might have on our family, as with thousands and thousands, yay, millions of people. But I'm also hopeful. And in fact, in my belief set, I'm super hopeful. And this is a great week to be hopeful. There's some crazy things that are going on in our world, but I'm not worried about this world as much as I am the future. And I just think that we just need to keep focused on the big prize at the end of this game. And I'm gonna pass this on to my buddy Tom real quick, because I know that he is also unbelievable, but he's also better than he deserves, right, Tom?
Right on, Dave.
So, Tom, and thank you, Dave. That perspective, I think a lot of us are concerned about loved ones. Maybe we have people that are in a higher risk category, or we have people that are uncertain about the financial futures. Many of us are as well. And so thank you very much for sharing that. Tom, how are you?
Well, first and foremost, I want to send out thoughts and prayers for any of you out there that may be struggling or have loved ones that has, succumbed to this horrible pandemic. I have to let you know that you're being prayed for, and we love you guys. So, Ben, personally, for me, on my personal level, I'm very blessed. My kids are healthy. They're doing fine. They're able to get through. I'm quarantined here in Florida with my lovely wife of 35 years. And the amazing thing is we still like each other. So on that front, we're very fortunate and very grateful. The terrifying thing at first for me is I'm virtually out of business. And what's interesting is for having a chance to think through this a little bit, for the last 20 years, I've never had to explain to anybody what I did, because most of my business was word of mouth. It started off with 3 contractors 20 years ago. I think everybody knows who they were. And it was just the next project, the next project, the next project. And before I know it, off and on for, 20 years, that's what I did. My MO was to jump on a plane, fly to a business, apply the principles, and then fly home, catch up, and then go on to the next thing. And then that fast, overnight, my platform went away. Nobody wants me in their businesses. Well, I shouldn't say nobody does, but it's less likely that I'm going to be able to build a business out of that or scale. And the interesting thing is, Ben, I couldn't, for the longest time, explain to people what it is that I did. So at first I was afraid, but now, quite frankly, I'm a little bit more empowered to have the opportunity to do this now and rebrand, rethink, put a structure in place where people clearly understand what problems you can solve and have a platform to deliver. So I went from being, nervous and upset to really fairly excited about the possibilities moving into the future. But thank you for that. And, I'll stop with that. And for everybody out there, we'll catch up to you in a few.
Thank you, Tom. And I think a lot of people right now are in a place where they are reinventing themselves, reinventing their businesses, reinventing their companies. And so thank you so much for sharing that and taking the courage to be able to tell us where you're at. Matthew, how are you doing?
So me?
Either one of the Matthews. If you want to go there, it'd be great.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Changes day to day, Ben. Honestly, it kind of changes day to day. We talked earlier this week. I happen to have family members that have tested positive for COVID. Our neighbor has tested positive for COVID. We have a high-risk situation in our house. So we are doing everything we can to be as cautious and conservative with the social distancing. It's tough. But Washington was hit particularly hard, and we've seen the results of that. Also, we have family overseas, members of whom have tested positive, and they're in a very difficult situation. So our thoughts and prayers are always with those members of our family. And so that's going on, right? But then, so I read this Faulkner quote, and the quote is, "Be scared. You can't help that, but don't be afraid." And I think since we've started talking about this, I've been really thinking about the difference between being scared of a situation as a reaction and being afraid as a condition. And they're two very different things. And I'm working as hard as I can to stave off the condition of fear, recognizing it's okay to be completely terrified at times about what's going on, but not to try and let that saturate so much of what I've been doing or thinking. And then, I wake up today and my wife says, "You know what? We haven't been together this long in 8 years of marriage. We've been together for 27 straight days now. And it's been the best 27 days, that I've had in a long time." And then my daughter turns 5 today. She comes running in the bedroom at 6:15 so we can go and make cinnamon pancakes. And she likes frozen peas with breakfast right now for some reason. I don't know why. So she wants pancakes and frozen peas. So here I am making pancakes and frozen peas. I've been with my wife for 27 days, and there's a lot of imperfections surrounding that. So I'm reminded of the fact that fear is a reaction. It's a normal thing. But, you can't let it saturate everything, because there's a lot of good that's come out of this on a personal basis. And hopefully, all of the people that we know and love are going to make it through this as well. So like I said, every day is a little different.
Thank you for sharing. And I'm sure there's many people out there that have loved ones that they're concerned for right now. And I really appreciate you sharing that with us. Matthew Bratsis, how are you?
Thank you. Appreciate you asking. I'm tired, right? I think I'm not sleeping as well as I used to sleep. On a personal note, this has been challenging for everybody's home. Everybody has their own issues. And it's hard to, sometimes you look at your issues and you sit there and think, in my house, I've got a 7-year-old who's not at school right now and is asking me all the time, "Dad, I thought this was 2 weeks." When do I get to go see my friends again? I've got a teenage daughter who's graduating high school or supposed to graduate high school. I think at this point we can just congratulate her for graduating because she's not going back. But she's also not getting a prom, and she's also not getting to walk down an aisle, and she's also not getting to experience those kind of things that she spent her entire life going. We all have those personal struggles, and it really is a challenge at this point. But then you look around and you realize how blessed you are that the five of us are in this house together, and we're getting along, and we're enjoying the time together, and we're not fighting, and we're not arguing, and we're not. We're finding time to reach out and spend time with each other. So from that perspective, like everybody else says, it's kind of mixed. There's some really hard times, but there's some real beauty to it. From a professional standpoint, I've got a lot of anxiety. I'm not going to lie. In the banking industry, this whole thing's about transparency, and I'm going to get into this in a minute, but it's about the banking and the lending industry right now is about as transparent as mud. And I think there's some anxiety on things that I know are going to be changing that haven't yet. So there's that anxiety of what's going to be coming down the road. So, but you have to deal with every day, and every day it's about problem solving. So from that perspective, that's kind of where we're at. And I look forward to continuing to build this thing and to continue to help everybody get through this, because I think we're going to come out on the other side really well.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Matthew. And I appreciate all of you guys sharing with us and being open and honest and being a little bit vulnerable in talking about what's going through your mind. I've got an announcement that I want to read for everybody that I think is familiar to most of the people that are on this call, and just want to go ahead and set the correct setting and tone here. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the crew, I ask that you please direct your attention to the monitors above as we review the emergency procedures. There are 6 emergency exits on this aircraft. Take a minute to locate the exit closest to you. Note that the nearest exit might be behind you. Count the number of rows to this exit. Should the cabin experience sudden pressure loss, stay calm and listen for instructions from the cabin crew. Oxygen masks will drop down from above your seat. Place your mask over your mouth and nose like this. Pull the strap to tighten it. If you are traveling with children, make sure that your own mask is on first before helping your children. That message that is all too familiar for most of us, especially those that do training and are traveling on a regular basis, there's an important lesson to be learned from there. The message that says, make sure that you put your own mask on first before helping those around you. How many of you as parents, as moms and dads, as sons and daughters, as employers or as managers have been frantically trying to take care of all of those that are around you and meeting their needs, whether they be emotional, physical, financial, whatever those needs may be, without taking care of our own needs that we have? And so what I would ask everybody to do over the course of the next week is take a couple of minutes, process your feelings, think about how you're feeling, think about what's going on in your business so that you can help those that are around you a little bit better and be able to take the time to do that. With that being said, we're going to continue our journey through the HVAC business cycle. This week, the theme is transparency, and we're going to be talking about how transparency impacts in our business and what are some things that we can do to make sure that we're transparent in the things that we need to be transparent with. And I'm going to start off with Matthew Bratzes from EGIA, and he's going to be introducing the topic of being truthful and accurate in billing. Matthew?
Thank you, Ben. I really appreciate it. And let's talk about transparency from when we talk about lending, because right now we're getting more and more requests about what do we see happening, or what's going to be happening, or what changes are coming on, and what things are we seeing. And I would love to be able to tell everybody that my crystal ball is super clear and I can tell you exactly what's going to happen now, what's going to happen a week from now, and then what's going to happen a month from now. But the truth is there's not that clarity, right? That we're not at that particular thing. So all we can do is talk about some of the changes that are getting made. And I want to start my entire conversation with the whole idea that we are starting to see changes in our banks, right? We are starting to see some real changes, and what we're starting to see is just the beginning. We don't know exactly how deep we're going to be getting. We don't know exactly how much change, but what we do want to do is make sure that we are aware of it, and we're using some best practices, and we're doing the things that are appropriate for our business and for our customers so that we can navigate through these waters of financial times, right? Don't disclose private information or credit decisions to people, okay? You have to do that going forward. Don't allow others to use your dealer ID. If you're set up for financing, if you're set up with your own lender, you've got to start respecting the process, because right now we have to acknowledge that while we're all struggling and our business are struggling, and we tend to think that the banks tend to be these big, giant businesses that shouldn't have the same concerns. They do have the same concerns, right? So we want to make sure we're doing the right things. Do not send your denials from an A lender to another A lender. If you're set up with on Green Sky and you've gotten it turned down, if you send that over to EnerBank, all you're doing is they're going to see that you sent it because they have the ability to pull credit, and they're going to notice that. And what you're going to do is jeopardize your banks. You're going to put your banks in a position where they don't know that they want to deal with you. And what they really want to do is know that they have a really true good partner. Don't engage in elder abuse or other discriminatory practices. Offer financing every single time. Don't make a pre-decision whether you think this person can use it or this person can't do it. Or don't sit there and think, well, I could take advantage of an opportunity here. The banks are going to be looking for these kind of transparency items. Real big, don't itemize your dealer fees on your invoice. Your dealer fees are not something that can be passed on directly to the customer if they're using finance. That is illegal. That is not going to go over big. The lenders are going to bounce that thing back if you can. Your dealer fees are something you're going to have to, and I'm going to talk about dealer fees in a minute. Applications, and this is a new, real important one that is just coming out right now, specific to what we're seeing in the market. Application and income statements must be real. Over the past 8 years, without throwing stones at anybody, there's been a lot of flexibility, and there's been a lot of do what you want to do and just be able to get things approved, right? But the banks are starting to do what we call to fund. And when they do a call to fund process, they're not just calling to verify that you've done the installment properly. They're calling to verify that that customer is employed where they say they're employed, and they're making the amount of money that they're making. So when you're taking an application, or when you're working with a customer and you're making sure that customer takes that application, make sure that the customer understands it's got to be a real application. If you're working at XYZ, you've got to be working at XYZ. And if you're making $1,000 a month, they need to be able to say and state that they're making $1,000 a month. Now is not the time to start being aggressive and being less transparent with your banks. Lenders will be tightening their underwriting. So we need to start being prepared for the deals that might have gotten $15,000 or $20,000 approvals might be getting $10,000 or $15,000 approvals. This is just real facts that are going to be happening in the finance world, and we have to start being prepared. But the one thing I want people to understand, that A/B customers will still get approved. 80% of all the prime lenders are telling me, that's not worded right. The prime lenders are telling me that 80% of all their approvals are above 700 FICO. So we're not expecting to see a significant portion of your deals being turned down because they were already scoring over 700. What is going to be affected is your second look lenders. Your second look lenders like Foundation Finance, or your second look lenders like Turns, or some of these other programs that are out there, you're going to start seeing significant harder chops. You're going to start seeing less approvals. You're going to start seeing real changes to those programs, and we need to get ahead of that and understand. So let's talk real quick about dealer fees, because I want to make sure we fly through this thing. Dealer fees are not your enemy. I've heard so many times about, I don't want to pay dealer fees. Dealer fees are ridiculous. It just wants the bank to be able to make a living. They just want to make money. Dealer fees are not your enemy, right? They allow you to accomplish some of the following things. You can offer a no payment solution. And I said this last week in our meeting, and I'm going to say this probably every week. Right now, the biggest feedback we're getting from contractors, the biggest feedback we're hearing in the market is you've got to be able to offer a no payment solution for consumers over the next 6 to 12 months. That's got to be your biggest priority right now. And one of the reasons why, if you're with one of those programs like Wells Fargo or Synchrony that don't have a no payment, that don't have the ability to offer no payment, you need to make sure you're getting on one of the lenders that offers a no payment solution. It's a priority right now. Dealer fees also allow you to get the lower interest rate for your customers. If there were no such thing as dealer fees, you'd be offering 12, 15% rates for your customers. By paying a 3 to 5% dealer rate, you're offering them something that makes lower monthly payments and helps make your service affordable, right? And that's what it's about. It's making your process affordable. So from a transparency, you've got to be upfront and you can't hide from dealer fees. EGIA will show you how to flat rate your dealer fees. You're paying dealer fees with credit cards, you're paying process. Let's show you how to flat rate it so you can get a better customer experience. Let the customers have the affordable product, let them get a better offering, which is an excellent rate, or a no payment solution for the time being, and let you be more profitable. Again, this is our point of contact. This is me, I'm Matthew. There's Mike Brisbane, there's Eric Good. Please reach out to us. Allow us to help you manage your financing situation. Allow us to get a no-cost finance lender evaluation. We'll spend 30 minutes with you, make sure you're dealing with deal fees appropriately, make sure you're using the right kind of programs, whether it's a 12-month no-no, a 6-month no-no that rolls into a 999 10-year. We have second looks. I know Foundation right now is going through some problems. I'm not going to deny that. We're working through that with you. We're going to come up with other solutions that are going to help you get as many approvals, but you've got to reach out to us. It's no cost. Please work with us and allow us to be part of your sales team, part of your admin team, so we can help you guys move on to the next step. With that, I'll throw it back to you, Ben.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Matthew. And I will let everybody know, please reach out to the names that were up on the list there. They have great promotional programs that we're doing that have the buy down rebates that we've put together with the lenders and with Goodman to be able to help you be able to offer better programs for your customers that will help them be more successful. Next step in transparency is to keep the promises that you make. How often do we hear a slogan or a line that somebody's offering and say, hey, I think that would resonate really good with customers. And without even really thinking through the ramifications of it, we go ahead and post that up on our website. We send it out in an email or a newsletter. We put it on the side of our vans. I don't know how many contractors through the years that I've seen have 24-hour emergency service on their website, and you go to call over after 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, and it goes to an answering machine, and you don't get a call back until the next day, or maybe not even get a call back at all. Or how often do we hear, hey, all credit cards accepted, and then we call in and find out, oh, except American Express or Discover, we don't accept those credit cards. Or we hear, that we have service in hours, not days. And then the customer calls and finds out we can't get out for another week. Or we hear always on time or you don't pay a dime. And then the excuses start to come for why we can't get out there and do the things that we want to do. And we kind of made a little graphic here, but these are all kinds of some of the words that we see in this digital environment that we all live in now. Words matter. Words have meaning, and words last for a long, long time. When I put something up in that digital space or that digital environment, it's my contract that I'm writing for my customer. And if we're not careful with the promises and the commitments that we make, we end up rubbing the customer the wrong way because, we set one expectation yet deliver another. I hear, we deliver red carpet service. Are we literally rolling out a red carpet? We have white glove treatment. Are our guys wearing white gloves when we come out to the customer's home? What does that mean? How do we define that? And what promises do your CSRs make when they're talking to the customer on the phone? What promises do your technicians make when they're in front of the customer or the homeowner? Or your salespeople make when they're talking and they're working on getting that sale? And so words are very, very important in everything that we do. And we need to make sure, and now is a great time to sit back and think, okay, what are all of the guarantees we offer? What does that mean? If I heard somebody say that they were offering that to me, what would I think? And what would be my expectation? And take a hard look at this and think about, what is it that we offer? Who are we? And what are the things that I want to commit towards as we put that out there? So I want to turn things over to Mr. Plugoff, and we'll talk about making the invisible visible. Matthew?
Yeah, this is a really interesting and important topic. And I heard Tom talk about reinvention. I think a lot of us are going through some level of reinvention. But from a contractor sales standpoint, the takeaway that I would like to offer is that in our industry, we would all probably agree at some level that at the kitchen table, or however it's going to be communicated now, when asked to explain the value of your company, the kind of thinking that's happened for a long time is to talk about things in very general terms, which is to say we talk about the years that we've been in business, or the number of people that work for us, or some perhaps of our unique internal or external policies and procedures. But that, like everything else in our industry, has reached a level where the stories are becoming very, very difficult to discern from one another. And so in the spirit of transparency, I would encourage you to think about the concept of onlyness in your business as a sellable entity. What that means really simply is that, in every single company that I have ever worked with, or that any of my excellent colleagues have worked with, those companies do something remarkable inside the business, something that contributes to its value among customers, something that contributes to the strength of its culture, something that legitimately could be a source of differentiation, which is important because it's much easier to protect your price position, and it's much easier to explain why your company should be the contractor of choice if you can pin that distinction on specific attributes. The concept of onlyness, and this is my takeaway for this session, is go back to your business and ask yourself, what unique processes, what unique procedures, what trainings, awards, contributions, people, events, community involvements, what do you do inside your business that you never talk or share? You never talk about it, and even though it may be the distinct defining factor that separates you from the competition. And everybody I've ever worked with has some type of onlyness just sitting there under the hood, but they never talk about it. If we're going to talk about transparency, then we have to talk about being transparent all the way through the business, not just the convenient talking points that you learn in a sales training class, where everybody kind of gets more or less the same script. The concept of onlyness is sharing the things that nobody else is talking about, but are unique to your company and yourself. Make the invisible visible, and it illustrates your purpose in the market. So that is my takeaway when it comes to transparency. You have a chance to brand your business. You have a chance to sell your value. Don't fall victim to telling the same story that everybody else is telling. Go back and consider your business from the position of onlyness, what's unique, and what do you never talk about that you probably should be talking about. So, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Matthew. Jennifer, we'll go ahead and have you come in and talking about being timely and responsive. In today's digital age, this is probably more important than it's ever been before, because we live in a world where people expect almost immediate responses. And so looking forward to hearing what you have to talk with us about.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. So right now, the number of inquiries that are happening across the internet on a global scale have increased drastically in a handful of categories. And I just want to put things in perspective. This is a kind of a messy page, but We've done a tremendous amount of research working with our partners to identify how are consumers behaving right now? What are they looking for? And in reality, the importance of your industry, the home improvement industry, office supply, and grocery are technically the top 3 most highly searched for industries, search terms, and categories on the internet right now, for obvious reasons, because people are working from home, they are stocking up on supplies, and in addition to that, they are obviously learning how to resource or stock their home offices to be able to function no differently than they are from home. And their projects at home are what's keeping them occupied. It's attracting their time. Between plumbing, heating and air conditioning, roofing, windows, doors, every single new construction, the home improvement industry as a whole has seen a higher spike than any other searches that exist outside of office supplies and groceries. Now, that being said, we have to figure out how to respond to that. And I think one of the challenges that I know a lot of our clients are talking about is if I have a reduced staff or I don't have the same people working the same hours or they're from home, right now, what do I do? So here's some solutions that can help as far as not having the resources in place or trying to figure out how to get things done faster and how to be transparent with those who are searching. First, you've got to be an option for the services that you sell in the cities that you service. That's the simple one, is are you an option? If I search for AC installation, AC repair, AC service, or if you're in North Dakota and you're still doing furnace installation, furnace service, furnace repair, all of these search terms, are you an option on page 1 of Google? That's first and foremost, is being available. Are you an option on Facebook to your network or your crowd? And on the next slide, I'm going to show you some of the tools and systems you guys can use to be able to tackle some of those things without having to bring on additional resources. Ben, if you'll switch to the next one. Perfect. So on your social media accounts right now and your website, by installing a chatbot, you have a single tool. And if the chatbot includes online scheduling, and it includes the ability to schedule a virtual service, and it includes an online troubleshooting system where consumers can troubleshoot things on their own out of the gate and see if it's something like a breaker panel or the battery in a thermostat, something simple. If the chatbot has enough intelligence to be able to resolve issues, book appointments, schedule appointments, it's going to allow you guys to not have to rely necessarily on people for something that technology can do, and it can. The volume of search requests and chatbot appointments that are being scheduled literally right now for the average dealer that we have that was getting maybe 200 requests on social media or engagements on their chatbot, it's moved up to 1,500. We're seeing a huge, huge peak in volume of consumers wanting to be able to get answers, not necessarily picking up the phone, but needing a tool. The other thing that's increasing, so using an online scheduling system, a system that sets the appointments for sales meetings, virtual appointments, virtual sales calls, virtual diagnostics, it sets it on its own, you confirm it, and the system does all the automation. It will remind your customers you have an appointment. It'll remind your team you have an appointment. It gives them the option to reschedule. What we're noticing right now is the combination of an online troubleshooting system combined with an online scheduling and reminder system, combined with a chatbot to answer those questions and have that quick response 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, regardless of volume. So as the demand increases, the technology we use to be able to respond to that demand is wildly important. In fact, right now, the number of our customers' websites that we are flagging and seeing that they are being bookmarked as a favorite on someone's browser, that's very tough to do, to get someone to bookmark an HVAC site. But those that have the tools for something they feel like that they can troubleshoot and that they can use them more as a more frequent service provider, they're literally bookmarking those pages. So making sure you have a virtual sales page or complete virtual sales system. Right now, being transparent and is understanding that you can't do some of the things that you did in their home, and to be respectful that they might not want you sitting at their kitchen counter with a tablet and a notebook and a laptop and a 3-wing binder and a sales presentation. So right now, having the ability to take credit cards online, send proposals via online document sharing system, being able to allow your customers to sign up for your maintenance program or pay for that $29 virtual diagnostics online. It's a lot of this is just respecting their feelings and making those things available. I have customers, dealers now, who are processing 12 to 20 diagnostics appointments on a daily basis without ever leaving, and they're resolving problems for consumers. And consumers, the letters we're seeing come in, we see everything. We see all of the chats come in, all of their requests come in through social media sites and through the websites. We see those who have systems that are automated and respond. We see happy customers. We see those who don't have automated systems that are relying on people from their homes. We see worried customers. Are you guys in business? Are you guys working? Do you have anybody available? I sent a message on Friday. No one's answering your phone calls. We're seeing all this stuff, and it kind of freaks me out, because we now have a team of people that are literally just hunting down our customers who are not responding to that increase in demand. Now is the time to respond to the demand by automating everything that you possibly can, so that you guys can execute on what Matt just said it. And I know Bringham's going to say it too. You have to, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, know what are the things that only I can do. And we're the only ones that can communicate and talk. You guys should be on video talking about IAQ. Now's the time to be doing live video. Now's the time to be talking to your customers and connecting with them from a personal standpoint, just like we are today. And get everything that is a function that needs to be performed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with unlimited volumes. Get that into a piece of technology so you can concentrate on providing the conversations, the love, the care, and concern that are necessary in today's environment. So with that, you guys let us know if you need help. Let's just talk. I don't know what everybody needs, but I know that a conversation does nothing except help us all figure it out. So that's our contact information. Snap a picture with your phone, and we'd love to visit. With that, I'm going to hand you to Brigham, who is going to further elaborate on this need.
So, Jennifer, what you're saying is absolutely resonating. I don't know if you jump back on the text real quick and get in on that conversation, Jennifer. People agree with you. So, looks like we jumped back on the PowerPoint. Okay, cool. Emotional needs. You know, before this meeting started, the panelists got together with Ben, and interesting how something came up. And I'll illustrate what I mean with an experience I had about 12 years ago. When I first started this business, I had nada, and it was great. We started by going to events. That's what you did back then, right? And I'm already saying back then, you know, when did it change? Oh, about a month ago. I went to this event with Barry Gates, and Barry Gates is awesome. He's been with me since the beginning. and we put everything on a credit card, $2,500 for the booth, 10 by 10. We're excited about contractors coming to our booth, talking about our business and what we do and how we do it for CSRs and training your team and so on and so forth. And the contractors weren't there. And I'm sitting here at the booth, and Barry had ended up, he wandered off, and I wasn't sure where he went. And I'm sitting here hustling whoever comes by, and half of them are other vendors, right? And I'm going, okay, great. This isn't looking good. And finally, I see Barry walking down the hallway, and I'm ticked. I'm frustrated. I'm upset. And as he approaches, he's approaching with somebody else, some guy, and I'm too upset to even notice who he's walking with. He finally gets up to me and he introduces this guy. I didn't hear a thing because I was so upset. I know nobody can relate to that. It's never happened to anybody. And he repeats who that was. Hey, this is so-and-so, VP of a major company. And I forced a smile on my face. And finally we decided to talk some more about what we could do for each other. And we ended up sitting down at a couch right in the expo because nobody was around anyway. And we've been doing business together ever since. The reason why I share that story with you is that sometimes we let our attitude become foul because of circumstances around us, because of events that occur. And when we do that as the leader, whether we like it or not, that rubs off on our team. When payroll comes around each month and everybody knows it, that's on you. That's on me. Negativity is a tough thing, and it starts at the top. So whenever I hear a story about a CSR who was negative towards a customer, or when a technician did something they weren't supposed to do, that may be a symptom of a cause that is much bigger. And it's important for us to look at ourselves. I learned a lot from that experience with Barry. He would not let me lose that moment with that customer. Luckily for him. But I should have known better. I'm the leader. It starts with me. I'm the one that creates the culture, that shapes the behavior, that produces the progress and the prosperity. So that's going to be really, really important as we move forward together. That whenever something goes wrong, the first thing we should do is look in the mirror as leaders of our organization. And the day we started our business is the same day we decided that we were never going to have a bad attitude, ever, because that bad attitude is contagious. Fake it if you have to. They need that positive energy. They need you. They need you to lead them. So with that, I wanted to make sure that I covered, Ben, you mind jumping back real quick to that last slide? The Paycheck Protection Program. You guys, there's information on that program. It's obviously not official, but there is information on our website. You just go to powerslingpros.com. If you guys aren't, I know that some of you are thinking, you know what, I'm good. You know what, and I feel good too. I don't plan on using it, but I certainly applied for it. I applied for it with my bank, and I applied through a intermediary. Really great organization called Lendio. So I've applied through both, and whoever comes through first, that's what I'm going to be working with. And again, I don't plan on spending it. I don't think I'm going to need it. I think we're going to be fine without it, but it's good to have it. It's good to have it. We don't know what the future is going to hold, and it's important to be prepared. So if you want more information, we've thrown some information on our website. All right, go ahead and jump to the next slide then. All right. I want to make sure that you guys have a chance to, if you like the stories and the experiences I share, there are a ton of experiences in my book that came out just last fall. This is my second published book. I'm going to give you the audio version of chapter 3, just so you can get a taste or a feel for how that goes. That's my voice. It's not somebody reading the book. It's me. So I'm certain you'll find it entertaining and fun. But feel free to download that free chapter. There's also several videos. There's 3 videos. One, eight lessons in leadership training. That I did. Soft skills starts with the leader, and that is done by Erica Lenore, and she's a fantastic trainer on our team. And then, of course, lastly, the video, You're the Enemy, but You're Also the Hero, which has everything to do with the topic today, which is your team, not just your customers, have emotional needs. And it's important for us to show them that we understand them, to show them that we care, and to reassure them that they're in good hands with you as their leader, especially right now more than ever. And with that, I'm going to toss this off to David.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dickinson, as usual. I appreciate you sharing that. And we're going to talk a little bit about sharing knowledge today. And one of the things that I think is very appropriate in this time when we think about transparency is we know a lot about what we do and how we do it. And to Mr. Matthews' statement about, just make the invisible visible, I think that's a really, really, really critical point. We've got to look at where people are, both internally within our organization and externally as our customers are out there, and certainly our partners, our distributors, wholesalers, and the manufacturers. We all have to work together in this. And when you have something that you haven't been exposed to before, like a lot of us haven't been exposed to anything. Well, none of us have been exposed to anything exactly like what we're going through right now. But you always start off in fear. I mean, and you have a choice. How are you going to react to that? And usually fear induces reaction, not so much response, more reaction than response. Are you going to be angry? Are you going to hoard toilet paper? Are you going to be a fear monger? Are you going to be a complainer? Are you going to be selfish? Are you going to be, spreading gossip? Are you going to be emotional? Are you going to be scared? I mean, scared is a real thing, right? Scared is a real thing. I get scared for my kid right now in Boston who works in the restaurant business. That scares me a little bit when I think about the fact that she's in a hot spot and, she's up there and we're down here. So it scares me. Even though she's 30 years old, she's still my kid, right? So once we get past fear, we got to move through this fear zone and we got to get into an attitude of learning. How do I learn about what's really going on right now? I mean, am I going to verify information before sharing it? Or am I going to be one of those people that sees this cool looking meme and I send it to the rest of the world? Well, when we talk about Russian trolls, that's exactly what's happening is people are sending false information and passing it out everywhere. Well, that's not what we're looking to do here. What we want to do is people that are learners, people that are thinking about what's going on, we want to verify the information before we share it. We want to let go of things we can't control. I mean, realistically, we're in the indoor weather business and we can't control the outdoor weather at all, right? So why worry about the weather? You can't do anything about it. Right? Why worry about what's going on with this other stuff outside of your control? Worry about things you can control. That's a learning attitude. That's a learning zone type person. You want to stop consuming all the crap that's out there, both in the news and actually from a food standpoint. I know there's probably a lot of people right now because of stress that are overeating, over drinking, over consuming stuff that's just not good for them. I've had to learn to drink more water and less coffee. Right? Because kind of like Matthew Bratt says, I'm not sleeping quite as well as I used to. And I don't know if I'm anxious about things or what, but I mean, it's just reality. I'm waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, holy cow, how'd I get here? And then by about 10 o'clock, I got to have another pot of coffee, right? So, and I also want to be a responsive person. I want to respond, not react. I want to base my response on facts. I want to do the research, figure out what's going on. And that's what the learning zone is all about. But if we're going to grow, we got to go to the grow zone, right? When we go to the grow zone, we got to focus on finding a purpose. How do we do what we do and why do we do it, right? We got to find a purpose in everything that we do. We got to use the skills that we've been gifted with to serve others. I mean, that's what we're called to do on this ball we call Earth, right? We got to look through other people's eyes. We got to have empathy. We got to understand that when your customer is afraid, that's real to them right now. They don't understand that you have a plan to be able to handle the distancing, handle the cleaning up of the thermostat that you touch so that nothing will be left on there, about handling yourself properly in their environment. They're afraid. So we have to look through their eyes and understand that and appropriately address the issue. We got to respond appropriately. We got to always be grateful. When customers give us the opportunity to serve them right now more than ever, but always important, say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. Right? Simple. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. Show them that you actually appreciate their business. Tell them regularly. Prove to them that you're thankful by going an extra mile. There's a concept that they talk about down in New Orleans called lagniappe. Right? And lagniappe is the 13th donut, the baker's dozen, right? You promised a little, but you delivered just a little bit more. That's what people look for. And that's how you grow your business. That's actually how you're going to grow yourself as well. And you want to live in the present, not with the future in mind, not just stay here and say, this is it. This is it from now on. This is it. This is my new now. Now, what's it going to be like next week? What's it going to be like next month? Look to the future and start planning ahead. I'm having conversations right now with distributors that are saying, you know what, we're not really sure we're going to ever do live training again. You know what, if that's true, there's a whole lot of people on this call right now on this side of the microphone that are sitting there saying, say what? Because that's what we do. When Tom talked about, man, my life has been living on an airplane. When Brigham talks about he and his team are out there and he's lost a whole bunch of people, lost a whole lot of opportunity to do business because we're a face-to-face kind of business, man, we gotta sit there and say, okay, now what, right? How can we serve you? Because we have some good ideas. How can we serve you and still maintain that distance? That's a good thing. We got to think about the future and we have to adapt to change, man. I mean, this is a changing time for us right now. Everyone in the world right now is looking at things through a completely different prism than what they were looking at it through just a few weeks ago, just a few months ago. And I think, and this is true, at least for me, it's always been this case. It's one of the things I have to brag on my wife. She's very perceptive here. She says, you know the thing I love about you most? I said, what's that? She said, you're calm and you're patient. I said, well, that's kind of important. That's how growth's all about, right? So in the idea of growth, we got a little something for you here. We got a magazine that we produce. It's called High Performance HVAC Today. And it's kind of interesting. This month's issue is talking about a new age approach to maintenance. And actually, the article highlights a contractor who's been using technology to do virtual maintenance visits. This guy does 11 virtual maintenance visits a week. I'm sorry, I'll get it right in a minute. 11 virtual maintenance visits a year and 1 physical maintenance visit a year as a part of his maintenance program. So you should read it. Also, there's a little article in there talks a little bit about what Ben Middleton's put together with the Goodman Business Toolbox, talking about how this whole thing has blown up to what it is today. So free subscription, HVACtoday.com. Thank you for the opportunity. And that looks like an Easter egg on your screen. Happy Easter. Mr. Whitman, it's all yours, baby.
Thank you, David. That was an awesome presentation. I sincerely mean that because that falls right into play to the next step. So listen to your customers. That's very important, right? Well, fundamentally, there's 3 types of customers we're listening to, right? There's our external customers that we talk about a lot, we tell often. There's our internal customers, our associates, our bosses, the people we work with. But there's also our business that needs to be listened to. The question is, how do we listen to that? And that's what I talk about today. And David, this lines right up with what you're talking about too, which is incredible. So as you look at this illustration, I'm not sure if you guys you probably can't see my mouse, but a process on the very top is nothing more than an intentional series of actions designed to produce a result. An intentional action, series of actions designed to produce a result. Okay. Now, when we talk about leadership, responsibility, and accountability through 3 levels of any organization, whether you're one person in a truck building an organization or whether you're an $80 million operation. For 20 years, I've seen everything in between. But first and foremost, on accountability side, on the responsibility of leadership is to develop a systematic way, develop a series of actions designed to produce a result. Here's the first one if we're in business. The first one is cash flow. It's a business principle that is so important. Do you know where your cash spread is every single day? And is your cash growing or shrinking? I can tell you from the people that I know, everybody has been in a position that saved 90 days worth of operating expenses. They're able to survive this. Those that haven't are in a very challenging situation. Cash flow, number 1. Number 2, do you know what it takes to break even for each business segment within your organization? In other words, how many dollars do I need to install or service or sell? It's going to get me past break even. And can you do that by week 2 or 3? If you don't have answers to those, you stop. And we're going to solve that problem for you. Okay? This first level is leadership. Leadership of a company is so important. It's a responsibility, I believe, that we have a strategy. The first strategy is cash flow, break even. Once you know that, then you have a better understanding as to how to structure your company. Once you understand that and work through this, you're going to have a better understanding of what frontline processes will solve a problem for you. Instead of thinking it's just a great idea, let's try this. David, I think you said it first, evidencing fact before you make a decision. And you're in there, right? It's fear, learn, grow, and adapt. Verify information, and then make the decision. So super important. Development process. Once this is finished on the leadership level, then it's pushed forward to the managers. And check it out on the right-hand side, right? So the strategy is leadership develops and monitors. Managers implement the performance process, which is following an intentional series of actions designed to produce a result. We know our break even. We knew by the business segments where we need to be every day. So they're in charge of making sure that the front line, whoever they manage, whoever they coach, whoever they work with, is performing on that. But check it out. The front line has one major thing that they need to do on the right-hand side on the top, and that's to create a great customer experience. I want to stop right there for a moment. We have to define what that experience is, not them, because it may be different. In other words, we have to have an intentional series of actions designed to produce a result of a great customer experience for every aspect of our organization. If we don't, we may not be as successful as we could, especially today. Okay? Now, here's the rub. Here's what's really going to make this cool. Once we've put this down from leadership all the way through to management and the skill sets are developed, guess who's going to tell us where the challenges are? The people in the field, which is where it should be. Every single day, your marketing, customer service reps, dispatch, service, sales, operations, installation, accounting should be reporting critical performance measures to you, leader, every day. So you can review it, analyze it based on fact, know exactly where you need to go in your business to take it to the next level. Next slides, please, Ben. At that point, you're constantly developing and implementing and performing. And once you get this, breathe this life through your entire organization, the potential is endless. It's just a matter of structuring. The principles stay the same. Cash flow, making sure that you understand your break even, making sure that the critical performance measures you expect from the processes that you've in place that deliver a series of actions designed to produce a result is happening. And then finally, making certain that everybody on the front line engaged with your customers create a great experience for them. So you'll have a high level of customer acquisition and retention. And then the next day, literally seeing the results of the day before and the next day. You get 60 to 90 days of cash in the bank. You have a system put together for your entire organization that is designed to produce a result of a great customer experience. And you get feedback every single day as where the opportunities are to improve. Not only that, but if the market shifts like it has right now, you'll be in a very, very good position to shift with it. I'm excited about this and thrilled to be working with you. As you know, I'm rebranding. So here's the deal. You got a free break-even assessment with the Coaching Corner. It's a package for you. And please, we will be putting this up on the chat so you can go in and experience what I'm putting together for you. I want to help you through this. The reason I'm doing it for free, by helping you for these few weeks, you're going to be helping me build a very solid platform to get this information out on this whole new way of interacting with companies that I'm not comfortable with yet. So thank you. And I invite you to be on this journey with me as I am with you. We look forward to speaking to you soon. God bless. Take care. I'll turn it back over to Mr. Middleton.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. And as always, continue to embrace technology. Technology is your friend. It is something that is going to help you navigate through these stormy waters as we continue to press on and move forward. Look for ways that you can use technology that maybe you haven't in the past. Review all of your processes in your business and see where technology fits in. And thank and encourage your people. Next week, when we get together, we're going to be hearing from you. So don't be surprised if one of our coaches reaches out to you in the next week and is asking you questions about what you're doing in your business. And we'll be able to hear what contractors from all across the country are doing as we continue to thrive in this new normal. Thank you so much, and we'll see everybody next week.